Coming to you live from the White Picket Studios in Houston, Texas, this is the Realty Ruckus. If you are in any way, shape, or form involved in the real estate industry, this is the show for you. And now, your host, Alan Hernandez.
Hey, what's up, everybody out there? This is not Alan Hernandez. This is Jabron Hernandez. Alan is still on vacation mode. That's actually why we went on a hiatus for last week. We figured we'd give everyone Freedom Week to be out of the office. Alan got to be, why'd you laugh when I say Freedom Week?
Just funny.
Freedom Week out of the office for Alan, and Freedom Week out of the office for us, and now we're back in here, ready to give you a really good episode today. We got some really good stuff planned, and we also have a lot of information for you based off of some of the forums that have been coming up online on Facebook. Yeah. We're going to be going into the actual legal. I know a lot of people go on there, they ask a lot of legal questions, and I love how everybody chimes in and becomes a legal expert in that moment. Everyone's like, well, in my opinion, with my non-legal degree, this is what I know. And so we actually have Ashley Patton. He's going to be in studio just a little bit later, and he's going to be able to give us actual legal advice on those topics. And one of them was a really good question. It was asked by Chris Johnson, one of our listeners, and we plan on answering that question when we get back. But first, what I want to talk about is not Zillow.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about Zillow today. Zillow is not on the topics for today. Anyone who's been following the show is probably like, oh, thank God. It's been about 60 episodes that they've talked about Zillow straight now. Today's episode, we actually are talking about another giant who's also trying to step into the real estate industry. And this one, I didn't see this coming. This one surprised me when I saw it. I said, wait, what? But it kind of is expected given that this company is just taking over everything right now. I mean, they are dominating everything. It's the same company that just bought out Whole Foods. Mm-hmm. They're getting ready to close on that acquisition. They're going to completely change the model of Whole Foods at the same time, which is crazy. And the company's Amazon. And so Amazon now plans to start generating real estate leads in the same way that Zillow does, in the same way that Trulia does, and then selling them back to real estate agents at a fee.
Yeah, Amazon actually has this marketplace where they advertise professional services. And so Amazon users can actually go on and already hire interior designers and such service professionals. And so now what they're going to be doing is adding real estate agents to the mix. And we know this because there's a page index in Amazon's home and business services section that says hire a realtor.
Oh, so this was basically outed then by some internet nerds who went in there, looked at every piece of data that they could find and said, wait a minute, what is this page?
Yep.
What is this hire a realtor that I found here? And it's exactly what it sounds like. So this is what Amazon plans to do. And it's the exact same model that Zillow and Trulia run off of. So they're going to charge agents a fee to be part of their membership service, to be able to qualify for the leads. And then once a lead comes in, they're going to send those leads out to people. But here's the catch. And this is something that Zillow and Trulia don't take advantage of. In Amazon, they're going to also be charging a referral fee. So not only are you paying a fee to be a member part of the service, but you're also paying a referral fee, which means that Amazon has some intention to open a brokerage. Because in order to collect, you have to. In order to collect a referral fee legally, you have to be a real estate broker. We actually had this discussion. The listeners don't know about this, but we had this discussion about a week ago where we said, well, how is it legal for people like Dave Ramsey to collect referral fees?
That's true. We were talking about that.
And what it all came down to was he's an actual broker. He owns a brokerage, and therefore that allows him to collect real estate referral fees from clients, which means that Amazon is going to have to be a broker or have some type of brokerage service somewhere down in the midst of everything that they do. Brokerage services is going to have to be something that's on their radar. And that's kind of scary because Amazon's huge. They're massive.
It is. And another feature that would be important to the agents that's signing onto this service is, Amazon is just another purveyor of agent reviews, so to say. If you become a service provider within this marketplace, then that's another channel for customers and your clients to provide you reviews, which could be good or it could also, hurt you.
Oh, absolutely. And one thing I've got to say is that these models are getting really popular.
Yes,
Amazon is not the first one. Now, these models have been existing forever, and it's essentially what Angie's List used to be. But Angie's List changed. Their model is you sign up, you pay to be on our website, and then people find you on the website, and they can hire you directly. I get calls from this company called HomeAway all the time. This company drives me crazy. They try to call you to sign up to get construction leads. But the problem that I have with this company is that they do no due diligence on the construction company. So they're literally referring anyone who's willing to pay for marketing dollars, they're willing to refer them. And what scares me is that this is going to happen the same thing with realtors. Any realtor that's willing to pay to be on the service that has no problem giving up probably 15 to 25% of the commission in referral fees is going to be able to be part of the service.
That's true.
Regardless of what kind of quality they provide.
You're right. But the thing is, like for me, when I'm shopping at Amazon, and you know, we're going to be talking about Prime Day here coming up in the next section.
Yeah.
About the Prime Day deals you can get on. But like for me, when I'm shopping, I click 4 stars and above.
That's true.
I filter it. I'm going to guess most people will go in there. If they're going to hire a service provider, they're not going to deal with crappy service providers. They're going to switch to that 4 stars and up. So.
That's very true. I hadn't thought about that. So people may have an ability to filter out some of the more ineffective realtors. Well, that's what we'll call them today, ineffective realtors. Anyways, guys, we're here on the Ruckus. We've got a really good show planned out for you today. We plan on answering quite a bit of legal questions later on in the episode, as long as Ashley can get here. His Uber. Oh, he's here. He's here. He's just not in the studio. Okay, cool. So Ashley will be back after the segment. You're on the Realty Ruckus. We'll be back after the break.
Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service and an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217.
Hey Houston, this is Alan Hernandez, and I want to remind you guys to visit our friends over at Quest IRA to learn everything there is to learn about investing with your IRA. Now, if you haven't been over there recently, you have to check them out. They have free educational classes, networking opportunities, the ability to tap into $1 billion for your real estate investing deals. These are the guys to know when it comes to learning about this kind of stuff. You want to make sure you visit them and check them out over at www.questira.com. Again, that's questira.com.
Stop searching and start staying in the know with our Houston Real Estate Events page on Facebook. Follow us by searching at Houston Real Estate Events to stay up to date on the latest events for real estate in the Houston area. If you are interested in having your event on our page, please email me at david@whitepickettrealty.com. Again, that's david@whitepickettrealty.com. Non-paid events only. One more time, find us on Facebook at Houston Real Estate Events, and we'll see y'all at the next one.
What do you love about White Picket?
I love that we work together as a team.
I love being professional while having fun.
I love the innovative approach we take every day.
I love the support we get to grow our business.
We love White Picket.
And I love empowering the next generation of realtors to live life by their own design. If you're looking to grow, come grow with us. Email join@teamwpr.com. Again, that's join@teamwpr.com.
And we are back on Realty Ruckus. Remember that you can find us live on Facebook and YouTube, where if you chat with us during the show, we can answer your questions live on the air. Now, it's been some pretty hot weather out there lately. What can everyone expect for the rest of this week, David?
Well, it's going to stay pretty hot with temperatures in the mid-90s. Today, you can expect a high 93 with a chance of scattered thunderstorms. That's a 40% chance. And the lows are going to be in the high 70s all throughout the week. So, again, wet and muggy. Just that typical Houston summer weather. How lovely.
Welcome to Houston.
Absolutely. So we were just talking about Amazon. It's kind of funny because Ashley walked in and said, hey, I heard you saying something about Amazon starting to get into the realtor market. And one of the ads that I actually saw on there said, hire a title company. So it's not only getting into the real estate market, you might be the next one on that list to be buying leads from Amazon.
Oh my
God.
Yep.
I know you guys stay pretty damn busy as it is. I don't think that you need more Amazon leads.
Business has been good. Business has been good.
Yeah, and you guys actually generate the majority of your business just straight from referrals, right?
Well, you can't go out and advertise to the people because the minute your loan officer says, the realtor says, hey, we're closing this title company, you can't really, a customer really doesn't have a choice of saying, well, I like this title company over here.
Yeah.
Generally, they rely on the professionals.
Got it. Okay. So you rely on the realtor or on the loan officer or whoever's involved to give the recommendation for your services.
Well, that's exactly right because advertising to the market doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like we have an insurance company where we advertise to the public.
Yeah.
I mean, it's different insurance, different marketing dollars, but we go out, we take a space. I mean, I can't tell you the number of times people call and says, "Hey, why don't you join this charity or just cause, or spend some money with us." We're like, well, that's great, but it's not going to do anything for us. Or, put an ad out on the radio. I mean, it's just, hey, title companies don't advertise that way because it's wasted marketing dollars.
You're right. I've never actually had a client who's like, you know what? I saw this advertisement for Texas American, and I have to close there.
Exactly. And you would say, hey, I have a relationship with this. And they're like, okay, we'll go there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's whoever, you're right, it's whoever you trust the most.
Yeah, it's that primacy effect.
Well, you don't have to worry about Amazon then, and we're not going to worry about Amazon either. But one thing that we do want to look at is Amazon is doing their Prime deals again, which is some of the best deals that you get all year long on Amazon. Now, I'm not out there promoting that anyone go buy a bunch of stuff that they don't need. But if you have that itch, right now is the time to go out there and buy all the stuff that you don't need. So David actually put together a list of some of the best Amazon deals that he saw for Amazon Prime Day.
Yeah, I put together a small list, and then I also did a little research on Amazon Prime Day. And so if you're really looking for top dollar savings, then the bad news is you're going to have to wait till Black Friday, because on average, Black Friday deals were 9% cheaper than Prime Day deals.
9%?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you're talking about sales tax.
Well, that's on average. And so on electronics and stuff, it varies. I think electronics, like TVs, were about 15% cheaper on Black Friday Day.
So when is Prime Day? Is today Prime Day?
Today.
Today is Prime Day.
Oh, so after today, Prime Day is done.
It's done. But some of the deals you can get today, if you're into the smart home automation, obviously Amazon is heavily discounting their own services as far as the Echo and the smaller version of the Echo Dot. You can get the Echo for $89.99, which is 50% off, and you can get the Echo Dot for $35.
They're practically giving that thing away right now.
Yeah, and so that could be a good client gift. Maybe if someone that's purchased a new construction home and it's outfitted for a smart home, that would be a good closing gift for them. And maybe include some of those smart light bulbs or smart outlets. And one of the other offers is actually a small starter package with that.
No.
What's up?
What's the Alexa?
The Alexa?
Yeah, is that the same thing as the Echo?
The Alexa is the assistant that's
inside of the Echo.
Yes.
So there's an Alexa inside of the Echo.
So you buy the Echo and it comes with the Alexa.
Yeah, the Alexa is on the inside.
It's kind of like Siri with the Apple iPhone.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys ever seen Zoolander? I feel like the scene in Zoolander where he goes, the files are in the computer.
In the computer.
Yeah, so Alexa is the one that you talk to. It's pretty cool because I stayed at an Airbnb recently where they had an Amazon Echo.
Yeah.
And I walked in there and I was like, hey, Alexa, play some jazz music. Boom, it started playing jazz music off of Spotify. I actually thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
For $89.99.
Hey,
and that's the bigger version. The smaller version, it's a small, it's called a dot, so it literally looks like a small little circle that you place on your counter.
Like a puck.
That one's only, it's like the puck size. That one's only $35.
Yeah, that's really, really cheap for that right now, $35. Now, I saw one on here that I thought was a really great deal, and this is only because Alan has Alan has his little Bluetooth speaker. It's the Bose SoundLink Mini. Now, he has the Mini, the first edition. This is a Mini 2.
Yes,
so
and that one packs a punch.
Yeah, it's a little bit better than the one that Alan has. Don't tell him that, or he's going to go.
Is he watching?
He's not here to protect himself.
He's watching. Uh-oh.
If
I got to go.
Anywhere near a computer right now.
He's signing on to Prime.
He's like, I'm going to go get my Prime deal.
Hey, I just want to say, I'm sitting in Alex's place, and it feels good. I don't know if Alan's going to get his place back. No offense, Alan, but I might stay here. This may be my place. Except I can't ever make it here on time, so it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, so, you look good in that spot, man. You look good.
Bose never discounts their stuff.
Yeah.
They're one of those companies. They're like Apple. They hate to discount their products. They want their products to always have that high level of allure. We don't ever discount, and if we do, it might be like a 5% discount, or buy one and then we'll give you like $10 off of music on Amazon or something. But they don't hardly ever put a discount. Right now, you can buy that speaker, the Bose SoundLink Mini 2, for $129 on Amazon.
Yeah,
that is a smoking hot deal.
And we use that one all the time. You know, with the workshops, the events that we have, there's always that awkward period where people are showing up and you say hi to them, and then the conversation kind of fizzles out, and then it's just like awkwardly silent.
Yeah, they
go.
This
and helps you cure that. You have that nice background music going from a small portable device.
They go, they sit down, they're sitting there. There's no music going on. There's nothing to entertain them. It's just a little bit of an awkward environment. You bring in that little Bluetooth speaker with you. You set it down. You can play music out of it. And it goes for like 6 hours on battery power.
Wow.
So to me, that's a fantastic deal.
And then to close out this section, my recommendation is always check out the Amazon Basics products. Those are just Amazon branded products that they traditionally offer at a discount. So now with the Prime Day discounts, it's an even better deal. So definitely check out that section on the Prime Day.
That's like their version of Kirkland's.
Exactly.
Their version of Members Mark or whatever the Walmart one is. All right, guys, we will be right back after these break. We've got a really good topic coming up for you, and we'll see you after the break. You're on the Realty Ruckus.
Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service and an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217.
Hey Houston, this is Alan Hernandez, and I want to remind you guys to visit our friends over at Quest IRA to learn everything there is to learn about investing with your IRA. Now, if you haven't been over there recently, you have to check them out. They have free educational classes, networking opportunities, the ability to tap into $1 billion for your real estate investing deals. These are the guys to know when it comes to learning about this kind of stuff. You want to make sure you visit them and check them out over at www.questira.com. Again, that's questira.com.
Stop searching and start staying in the know with our Houston Real Estate Events page on Facebook. Follow us by searching at Houston Real Estate Events to stay up to date on the latest events for real estate in the Houston area. If you are interested in having your event on our page, please email me at david@whitepickettrealty.com. Again, that's david@whitepickettrealty.com. Non-paid events only. One more time, find us on Facebook at Houston Real Estate Events, and we'll see y'all at the next one.
What do you love about White Picket?
I love that we work together as a team.
I love being professional while having fun.
I love the innovative approach we take every day.
I love the support we get to grow our business.
We love White Picket.
And I love empowering the next generation of realtors to live life by their own design. If you're looking to grow, come grow with us. Email join@teamwpr.com. Again, that's join@teamwpr.com.
And we are back on Realty Ruckus. Remember that you can find us live on Facebook and YouTube, where if you chat with us during the show, we can answer your questions live on the air. Now, Chris Johnson said, did I miss it? Did I miss the show today, or do I have to wait until tomorrow to get my question answered? No, Chris, we're on live right now. We will answer your question. It's actually coming up in our next segment when we jump into our legal topic.
Yeah,
but
so you
it
gotta stick around.
Coming up. You just got to stick around. The answers are coming. Don't worry. And then also, I want to go ahead and update everybody. Alan has already ordered the Bose SoundLink Mini 2.
He went ahead and
to replace his Bose SoundLink Mini 1.
Well, that's because you made fun of him. Little one thing, you know. I mean,
I want to go ahead and congratulate Vanessa on her new Bose SoundLink
SoundLink
Mini 1.
Hey, I need to congratulate you and your new little baby too.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
By the way, I mean, just beautiful little girl. So
yeah, absolutely. And for those of you who don't know, David just had a kid maybe about a week ago. How old is your daughter now?
Yeah, a week.
Oh, exactly.
No, just a few days over. She was born on the 1st.
Okay, so she's just a little bit over a week old.
Yeah.
So his baby and my baby will be growing up together.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty.
They're only 2 weeks
apart. That's
apart.
pretty darn cool.
And what did your baby do?
My
she's
baby's due.
born.
My baby's
Oh,
baby's out.
congratulations! No one tells me anything on the show,
Bro, you got to watch out sitting like between us because you might catch.
I'm hoping to catch it. I'm hoping to catch it 4 times. I mean, I'm redoing my house just so I can have babies.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I'm adding a whole another floor in my house. So that's a whole. I mean, my fiance is so mad at me right now for doing that because we're having to move everything out. Yeah. Because originally I told her, it's going to be a little small addition, right? I didn't tell her to knock the whole roof of the house off. And she's like, we can still stay here, right? I was like, first I was like, yeah, we'll stay here. We'll stay here.
Yeah.
But then she's like, well, why?
Wait. This is off of the new house you just bought?
Yeah.
And you just knocked the whole roof off of it.
You know, the heiress for the Winchester Arms, she's in San Francisco now. She had a thing to where as long as she's building onto her house, the souls of everybody who died from the hands of her weapon wouldn't come back and haunt her.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of taking a page off her page.
Oh, God.
A page out of the crazy book?
Yes. So I'm always building this thing. It's just a...
doesn't make a lot of sense.
No. My fiance wants to kill me right now, so she's... but I told her, it's like, hey, baby.
So you're going to repay her with a baby? Is that what you're saying?
I hope so.
Hey, man, that's awesome.
Every one of my friends right now are having babies, and so it's just a...
time to join the club.
I'm trying to join the club. It's a good club to be in.
You want a boy or a girl?
I want a healthy child.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, obviously, I want a boy, but sitting
I
around
was
two
gonna say, you want a boy.
daughters,
I got my first boy, so I'm good.
Gerard, you got to work on another one, don't you?
Oh man, number 2, I don't know. Number one almost took me to the grave, so I'm
really?
not sure. It's anyone who's gone through it, anyone who has a child knows that the birth experience is really stressful.
Right.
And even it's a whole pregnancy all the way through the birth, and then you think you're out of the woods already after the baby comes out, and then that's when it actually starts. Oh. So everything you experience up to that point was just like a primer to get you ready for what actually it's going to be like being a parent. So yeah, being a parent is tough, man. I give it up to all of the parents out there who've raised people like us because it's not easy. It's a pain in the butt.
And then operating a business on top of that is a whole other segment.
Oh yeah, man. It's definitely tough. It's big shout out to all the people who've raised successful people out there because it's not easy. And it takes everything that you have to not lose your sanity with a baby. It really does. So now that we've gone through that, I hope everyone feels good about that. Ashley feels good now. I want to jump into the importance of people understanding when they're leaving money on the table, but not realizing it.
Yeah.
And I want to start off not with a real estate example. I want to start off with a very, very simple example. We'll keep it really, really simple. Let's talk about you selling popsicles, right? The guy that's out there on the street selling popsicles. And he has the opportunity to sell 100 popsicles a week.
The paletero man?
Yeah, the paletero man.
Okay.
And he can make $1 a popsicle. So he can make $100 a week selling those popsicles. Or he can increase his cost and sell them for $5 a piece, but he's only going to sell 8 of them a week. And it's going to be really difficult to get those 8 sold. So he's making only $40 a week now, despite the fact that he's increased the cost on it. What's the better decision for him?
Go back to $1 popsicles.
Go back to the $1 popsicle.
Right.
Go back to what you can capitalize on more quickly. And this is one of the things that they talk about in real estate. This is the opportunity cost of real estate.
Yeah.
Is that a lot of realtors tend to take on listings that they realize are overpriced and are not going to sell. And they pick them up in the hopes that it'll sell at that higher price. And when I talk about it in that real estate world, I guarantee there's somebody out there listening going, well, yeah, it makes sense. Sometimes you're going to get it sold at that higher price. But you have to go back to the real simple example of the popsicle guy. He could sell the popsicles for $5 and probably not sell them until he finds a sucker out there who's willing to pay the $5. It's no difference than taking those overpriced listings. And people are leaving money on the table by taking those. It's easier to walk away from it and say, you know what? I'm not going to take that overpriced listing. I'm going to go take 4 of the listings that are priced where I know they need to be priced. And maybe the commissions are not as high because the sales price is going to be a little bit lower. But I have 4 guaranteed sales as opposed to 2 or one, maybe if sales.
Right. Yeah, let's give the audience some numbers so they can actually understand this. And
absolutely.
Let's go ahead and assume that an agent is earning a 70-30 commission split, and their hourly rate or their hourly value is $30 an hour. And this will differ from agent to agent in the real world. But if you take two overpriced listings that take twice as long for you to sell as normal, and you could have realistically sold 4 homes in that same amount of time, then you've left money on the table.
Oh, so absolutely, yeah.
If you're figuring a 6% commission with an average sales price of $200,000, then in that scenario where you could have sold 4 homes instead of waiting on the 2 overpriced homes, you left $8,400 in commissions on the table because you decided to go with the 2 overpriced homes instead of working to sell 4 homes that are realistically priced.
Yeah, that's a hard pill to swallow. Now, the other things that you have to take into consideration is when you take on a hard listing, one that's not going to sell easily, you're going to have to do extra marketing. Yep. You're going to have to do more open houses. You're going to have to push more to get that thing sold. And they're only calculating an additional $200 in expenses over what a regular listing is.
$200 for an open house?
Yeah.
What's an open house cost?
Well, it depends how you do it. I mean, some people have really amazing open houses where they are spending probably $500 to $1,000, and they have the catering and the music and everything. It's an experience. And then you have some open houses where it literally is, I opened the door. Yeah.
This house is literally just open.
Yeah, this house is just open,
I put some balloons out and say open house.
Even that's too much effort for some people.
Wow.
So, yeah, I've seen agents who just open the door and I mean, they could literally walk away and no one would know the difference of them being there or not. So they're only adding a $200 in here for those other expenses, which I don't think is enough. But you've already got the $8,400 in lost commissions, $200 there, and then they're saying another thing that people always forget to calculate, how much time you're spending driving around, going to those meetings, doing the open houses, showing the property to people who don't have an agent or those people that call you and they're like, I want to see the property today. And you're that agent who's like, oh, God, I got to go show it because I got to get this thing sold.
Yeah.
You're spending about another $150 at least in gasoline and time wasted. And then if you take the hourly rate, only $30 an hour, which is a really low hourly rate for a professional, then you're assuming another 20 extra hours at $600. When you add all of those up in opportunity costs, you've left $9,350 on the table by being the person who wants to take on those 2 hard listings rather than let me put those to the side and take on the 4 realistic listings.
And a lot of times I feel like agents have this sense that they are almost doing a disservice to the client if they're not willing to list at that higher price or willing to take on those clients necessarily. And it's the whole point of this segment is to let agents out there know that it's okay to say no, and sometimes saying no will actually help you earn more money than not saying no.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like when you are unable to look at a client and say, I'm sorry, I can't do it for that price, you're setting yourself up for a situation where you're going to feel overworked inevitably. You're going to feel like you're not being compensated well for what you're doing. And then 2, you're going to be really frustrated because you're going to start to realize I'm working really hard to make almost nothing. And I could be doing a house at this other house that's listed for less, but it would have already sold. And I'm not making that money because I'm wasting a lot of time here. And now you're already committed in that situation, and you have to go through like the breakup, that always goes through people's minds when they're going through a relationship breakup. It's like, well, I'm already committed. Do I really want to jump out now? What if this house sells tomorrow, but I jumped out today? What could I be leaving on the table?
There's almost like a point of no return where you're like, well, shit, now I'm stuck in and now I have to see it through to the end because if not, I'd lose out 100% on the money I've invested in this.
Exactly. And so the other part of opportunity costs that agents don't look at, and we talk about this a lot on the show, but it's not discounting your commissions. And it's making sure that you're charging your full percentage that you can be charging. And then if you know that a client's going to be difficult, you can charge a little bit more. If you really feel like, man, that house is going to take a lot more for me to sell it. It's a weird house. I'm going to say this for Chris Johnson. It's a weird house on the river. he knows his river house. He doesn't feel bad about me making that joke. But when you know that it's going to be a difficult sale, you can charge a little bit more because you know what the amount of effort is, the extra effort you're going to have to put into it. And you want to make sure that you're being compensated for that extra effort. And you have to always take into consideration, if you did 4 listings, and you discounted all of them, and let's say the listings are all $250,000. Let's keep it right flat, right around the Houston average. If you did 4 of those, and instead of doing 6%, you did 5% because you discounted all of them, you're leaving $3,500 on the table.
Yep.
That's a lot of money to be leaving on the table just because you don't feel like your service is worth 6%, or you don't feel like you can sell your service at 6%. And that you have to discount it to 5%.
If you're feeling that way, put together a premium marketing plan and really show off the services that you can provide that justify that 6%, and don't let a client, negotiate you down to 5%, because then, why are they hiring you anyways? If you let them negotiate you down.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other part you have to remember is if you get that really hard-headed person who's like, no, look, I only pay 1% for real estate listings, great. Let me refer you over to this agent I know who does listings for 1%. You don't have to be the one to take it on.
We always tell people try to get us to discount our escrow fee.
I bet.
And I'm always like, well, do you want us to discount our service? If so, we can discount our fees. Well, no. I don't want to discount your service. I just want to
pay fee side.
Yeah. Right. I want the full value of you at a 50% discount.
Right. And it's amazing how many realtors basically discount their own services by saying, hey, I would do it for less, because they don't have enough confidence in themselves to get the sale and to make the sale and to keep the sale. There are a ton of 1% brokerage shops out there, but that's all they do is they're a 1% broker shop.
Well, and I say this all the time. Anything that you're selling, whether it's your services or if you're selling a pen, I only say that from that movie where he's like, sell me this pen.
Sell me this pen.
But any product that you're selling, services, product, whatever, you have to be so convinced with that product or service and know that it is so amazing that whatever you're charging already is a discount. You're already giving them a deal on that product or service because your service is that great. And if you don't truly believe in your service that much, that's why you find yourself discounting it.
That's right.
Because you're like the desperate guy that's asking the girl, and you're like, "Will you go to the movies with me?" Well, no, I won't. I don't really want to go. Yeah, please. I don't really want to go to the movies. Well, can we just hang out sometime? How about we just run into each other somewhere? Please be around me. You don't want to be that guy. When we get back from the break, guys, we want to jump into some legal with Ashley. We've got some really good questions. Chris Johnson, we'll get your question answered right after the break. You're on the Realty Ruckus. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service at an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217.
Hey Houston, this is Alan Hernandez, and I want to remind you guys to visit our friends over at Quest IRA to learn everything there is to learn about investing with your IRA. Now, if you haven't been over there recently, you have to check them out. They have free educational classes, networking opportunities, the ability to tap into $1 billion for your real estate investing deals. These are the guys to know when it comes to learning about this kind of stuff. You want to make sure you visit them and check them out over at www.questira.com. Again, that's questira.com.
Stop searching and start staying in the know with our Houston Real Estate Events page on Facebook. Follow us by searching at Houston Real Estate Events to stay up to date on the latest events for real estate in the Houston area. If you are interested in having your event on our page, please email me at david@whitepickettrealty.com. Again, that's david@whitepickettrealty.com. Non-paid events only. One more time, find us on Facebook at Houston Real Estate Events, and we'll see y'all at the next one.
What do you love about White Picket?
I love that we work together as a team.
I love being professional while having fun.
I love the innovative approach we take every day.
I love the support we get to grow our business.
We love White Picket.
And I love empowering the next generation of realtors to live life by their own design. If you're looking to grow, come grow with us. Email join@teamwpr.com. Again, that's join@teamwpr.com.
And we are back on Realty Ruckus. Remember that you can find us live on Facebook and YouTube, where if you chat with us live during the show, we can answer your questions live on the air. Now, it has been some time since we've sat in the courtroom with Ashley Patton, and we're jumping back in there today. We're going to jump right back into the courtroom today, and I want to start with a question that one of our listeners actually posted into one of the Facebook groups. And the reason that I really wanted to put this question out there is because you see everyone chiming in. Now, this is a legal question that he asked. Yeah. Everyone and their mom that I know are not attorneys goes in and chimes in and wants to give legal advice.
Right.
And I always like to go on there and say, look, this is what I think, but you want to consult an attorney. And usually what I wind up doing is tagging Ashley in the post and hoping Ashley will go on there and clear it up. But when Ashley doesn't go on and clear it up, I like to bring it up on the show.
Yes.
So this is what happened. And David, you may want to read the post after I kind of give the summary. But essentially, just go ahead and read the post.
Yeah, so Chris Johnson posted on July 9th at 3:11 p.m. to be specific. This can't be legal, right? And before someone says this shouldn't be posted on Facebook, it should go to an attorney. I know, I'm just getting general commentary on it. You can learn a lot from people's comments. But anyway, here's a snippet from a Houston wholesaler's contract that a friend sent me. Okay, and so here's the actual...
this is the actual legal snippet that's in the contract.
Right. Yes. So in the contract, it states, in case the title is not clear at least 10 working days before the closing date listed on the contract, the closing date on this contract will be extended automatically without any signatures, consideration, or extension being filed from the seller. Additional 14 working days will be granted to buyer for clean and clear closing. This process will continue repeating until such a time that title is cleared for closing. So the question is, can you really have an auto-extended, open-ended contract like that?
So this was my initial reaction. My non-legal initial reaction, but just in my opinion, when I first saw that, I thought, God, no, there's no way that this can actually be legal. There's no way that you can have a unilateral, one-sided extension that just keeps extending in perpetuity until the seller decides to get their title cleared up. And everyone was really going back and forth on that post. Some people were saying, yes, legal. Some people were saying absolutely not. If you took this to court, the judge would look at you like a thief that you were trying to steal from this person, and they would bring down hell on you for doing that. And so during the break, I made sure that Ashley was well informed on the question, and he actually blew my mind.
Yes.
What is David? What do you think? Legal or not legal?
I would think not legal.
Jabron?
I would go with not legal. If you asked me, I would go with not legal.
And the listeners, what are the listeners? Anybody chiming in?
Let's see. Listeners, please chime in on your opinion whether you think that auto-extending an open-ended contract is legal or not.
I can tell you that the vast majority of people on the other post, it was about 50-50 saying legal and not legal. You had your people that were saying, not that it was illegal in a sense of that it was not allowed to do that, but that the judge would look at it and say, look, you're a sophisticated real estate person. They're just a regular seller with no training at all in real estate. You're taking advantage of their naivety.
Yeah, and there's some people on here, I mean, I won't name any names, but someone just comes in, nope, it's not legal, so they aren't able to extend. Someone can extend it, definitely. I'm not an attorney, but yes, I do read the law, and this is illegal.
I'm not an attorney, but I read the law. I love that.
Yeah. And then someone else says it's likely perfectly binding until one party decides to challenge it, usually the seller. So I don't know if you could challenge it if you're.
Well, see, quite frankly, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good analysis. That last answer you gave. I mean, it's parties to the contract. There's two parties to the contract.
Yeah.
Both parties agreed to be bound by the contract.
Yeah.
The seller says, "Hey, I'm okay with it." They agree to it. They have fixed their signature.
So it's not unilateral. Really, it was between the two of them because it was agreed to by both of them.
That's exactly right. That's why it's perfectly valid, because now, if one party chooses to get out of it, that's a different legal analysis.
Got it.
Because now if the seller wants to get out of it, the seller can argue consideration. The seller says, hey, I was never given consideration to do it unilaterally. Now the buyer, on the other hand, see, seller is under a duty to clear a title. So when the seller agrees to sell, one of the things that they agree to sell is good marketable title.
Yeah.
Now, if the seller can't acquire good legal title, now the buyer can't really enforce specific performance because what are they going to sue for?
Yeah, that's what I was asking you over the break. Yeah.
If the seller doesn't have it, for instance, we've got a contract where in 1982, the title was sold 3/4 of the title. And then now today, 2017, they're trying to sell 100% of the title, which, we're telling our client is like, hey, you cannot buy 100% of the title because only 75% is out there for sale. And so the other quarter has been no telling where the other quarter is. The other quarter
I was just about to ask that. What happened to the other quarter?
That's why we need blockchain.
Yeah. Our examiner chases deed back 1902, and then apparently 3/4 was sold back then, and then a quarter was basically deeded between, people were dying and dying and dying. Yeah. It was passed down, and it was divided to so many participles that they didn't want to list the commitment because they would have 45, 50 names. I mean,
wow, so they just left it out?
Yeah, they just left it out. They says, hey, a quarter is to unknown people because they couldn't trace it back because of all the divorces, all the people dying.
Wow.
I mean, you're talking about 6 generations of dead people and their divorces.
And their family lineage.
Yeah, I mean, family lineages. And so in 1902, they sold 3/4 of property, leaving a quarter to go amongst the family, and nobody knew they had diluted. Where getting back to the original question, only the seller or the buyer has the right to challenge that.
Yeah.
And once they challenge it, I mean, good luck because the seller's going to say, "Well, I wasn't aware of what I signed." But just because you're not sophisticated doesn't mean that you don't know what you're signing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, so I would say it's validly enforceable because there's only 2 parties now. What the buyer contract, a validly filed memorandum of contract is going to say, I have contractual. That's why you file those memorandums. You draft the memorandums you file to basically comport that you have contractual rights.
Yeah.
I mean, because anything less, means they go away. And so the goal of the memorandum of option is to lock the property up indefinitely, which is what this contract does.
Yeah. So this contract is essentially completely valid.
Completely valid on its face. There's nothing illegal about it.
Wow.
What if I was the buyer? Let's say that the seller wants to back out. I'm the buyer. What can I do to actually enforce that contract? He says, I don't want to sell it to you anymore, and that contract is BS. I don't know. You put some clause in there that doesn't even apply here.
Well, you file your memorandum of option. If he ever wants to sell it again, guess what? He won't be able to. But if you go to court and you order specific, and you, in an unlikely manner that you get a specific performance. See, courts don't like awarding specific performance. So if someone doesn't want to sell their home, courts aren't going to award them to. Remember, the courts are elected officials.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's true. I never considered that.
Because they're elected officials, they don't want to get that press out saying
that's
hey,
true.
I backed out of contract. You see, the whole thing about breach of contracts, sometimes they're justified.
Yeah.
I mean, if something comes up and you want to back out your contract, we're talking about earlier on about how sometimes it's okay to say no.
Yeah.
Same way with contractual relations. You agreed to a contract, and it's good at the time that you made the contract, but something happens, something changes. Maybe you find out that, something weird happens on the property, and maybe some spiritual thing happens on the property. You don't want to sell the property anymore. I mean, who knows? Maybe you talk to your great-grandfather on property, and the great-grandfather says in a dream, don't sell the house. I mean,
okay, yeah.
Then you back out of the contract. So I'm kind of going off tangent.
Yeah.
We're going to add that one to the book.
We are getting into spiritual beings talking to you about selling your house.
Well, Chris Johnson asserts that he has watched all 13 seasons of Law & Order, and he ascertains that you are wrong. It's illegal, Ashley.
Oh, hey.
Hey, all 13 seasons.
That's just equivalent to a law degree to me.
Yeah, I know. That's to me. That's beyond passing the bar.
Hey, Chris, please send me the precedent and where you got those chocolate-covered Nutty Buddy cookies is what I want to know. I mean, he brought some over to Shade to the office the other day, and I had a couple of them, and those things were fantastic.
Oh, really? Yeah, he's never brought us any type of treat.
I'm like, wait a minute. I thought we were friends, too.
They were chocolate-covered Nutty Buddy. Those Nutty Buddy bars?
I love those.
And they were chocolate-covered. Best thing I've ever had in my entire life.
Man.
So basically, if the seller wants to get out of it, they're going to have to fight the buyer to get out of it. And if the buyer doesn't want to let the seller out of it, the best they can do is take him to court and hope for a judgment that's going to be placed against the property.
That's exactly right. And a third party who gets in between the contract, watch out because they may be sued for tortious interference by either the seller or the buyer.
Now, can that third party be the title company?
Well, no, because the title company they're not going to get in the fight.
Yeah.
Because remember, if they have the earnest money, they just won't release the earnest money until they have agreements both by the seller and the buyer.
Okay. Yeah.
And so there's an interpleader argument, Rule 22 interpleader, where if somebody if an innocent party is holding something of value that belongs to somebody else, all they have to do is they're named a lawsuit, they interplead those funds in the court, and that acts as their release.
So all you guys do it if there was a lawsuit, you say, hey, we actually don't have a dog in this fight.
Here's the money we're holding.
Here's the money. We're out of it.
We're out. And that acts as their release. Now, if they release the money to either the seller or the buyer, now they don't have the interpleader action. And so they've got to be a party to that lawsuit.
Yeah.
And that's why title companies never want to release earnest money.
Without that release.
Yeah.
And it's got to be signed by everybody.
It's got to be signed by everybody.
Because I've seen some agents try to be sneaky, and they'll send in the release of earnest money signed by only one person and be like, here's a completed release of earnest money. Please send this earnest money to this address.
Now, is the broker required to sign those earnest money releases?
I would say yeah.
What do you think, David?
What was it? Sorry, I was reading some more of the comments on here. I was going to bring those up.
An earnest money release, is the broker required to join in on the earnest money release? It's got a slot that says the broker must sign, the broker signed. Are they required to sign on those earnest money releases?
Are they required? No.
David's right, unfortunately, Ron. I mean, the broker is not a part of the transaction.
Yeah.
So those forms are created by Trek to include the name of the broker, but
it's really only the principal.
It's just an added liability, an added security measure. Okay, feel good, yeah.
Feel good. It's just because some brokers want to say, hey, I'm doing my job. I'm affixing the name to the contract.
Yeah.
Here it is. But a broker's not required. Where I've had agents call me and yell at me, scream at me, saying, I didn't sign that. You can't release the money. I was like, well, both the buyer and seller signed it. So,
that's the only people that matter in the contract.
Right.
But I wasn't okay with it.
Right. And I told him over and over, you are not a party to the contract. As much as you want to be. He's like, well, it asked for my signature in this form. I was like, no, the signature is optional for your form, but it doesn't require it because if you notice, the parties to the contract are the buyer and the seller.
Yeah. It's basically just an acknowledgement on your part.
It's an acknowledgement.
So one of our good friends and viewers, Alexander Big Swole Cedillo, he told Chris, it's legal. And he said he had actually been advised by a real estate attorney 25 years ago to put this clause into his contracts in order to protect basically the investment he's already made into the property, doing the research, marketing, whatever else it might be. That way you don't spend $500 to $3,000 and lose out on that.
I agree with Big D's himself. I mean, it's there is nothing illegal about it. Now, with any contract, you have a void versus voidability.
Yeah.
Now, worst case scenario, it could be voidable.
Now, what does that mean, voidable?
Well, if a contract is void on its face, means it's unenforceable. So, in other words, if it lacks one essential element, for instance, consideration or anything like that, that becomes void on its face. But a voidable contract is something to where one party can challenge.
Yeah.
And so if the seller comes in there, puts in this little sad story, files a suit, says, well, I don't really want to sell the property anymore, maybe then they could try to void the contract.
Gotcha.
But there's no grounds for that.
Yeah. It's going to be tough to do it.
Exactly.
So in other words, you heard it on the Realty Ruckus. Yeah. Yes, it is legal. You can put those clauses in there.
And you probably should.
And you probably should be putting something similar to that or filing your memorandums on every deal
I agree.
to keep them from stealing them out from under you. You are on the Realty Ruckus. We hope you enjoyed that segment. We'll be right back with our final segment right after the break. We'll be back.
Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service and an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217.
Hey Houston, this is Alan Hernandez, and I want to remind you guys to visit our friends over at Quest IRA to learn everything there is to learn about investing with your IRA. Now, if you haven't been over there recently, you have to check them out. They have free educational classes, networking opportunities, the ability to tap into $1 billion for your real estate investing deals. These are the guys to know when it comes to learning about this kind of stuff. You want to make sure you visit them and check them out over at www.questira.com. Again, that's questira.com.
Stop searching and start staying in the know with our Houston Real Estate Events page on Facebook. Follow us by searching at Houston Real Estate Events to stay up to date on the latest events for real estate in the Houston area. If you are interested in having your event on our page, please email me at david@whitepicketrealty.com. Again, that's david@whitepicketrealty.com. Non-paid events only. One more time, find us on Facebook at Houston Real Estate Events, and we'll see y'all at the next one.
What do you love about White Picket?
I love that we work together as a team.
I love being professional while having fun.
I love the innovative approach we take every day.
I love the support we get to grow our business.
We love White Picket.
And I love empowering the next generation of realtors to live life by their own design. If you're looking to grow, come grow with us. Email join@teamwpr.com. Again, that's join@teamwpr.com.
And we are back on Realty Ruckus. Remember that you can find us live on Facebook and YouTube. And if you catch us live during the show, we will answer your questions on the air. Now, we want to go ahead and jump into our tip of the day. And the tip of the day, today, that is really hard to say. The tip of the day today is regarding Trek's new advertisement requirements, which have changed tremendously. So if you haven't heard about these new advertising requirements, you want to make yourself aware of what they are. And David's going to fill you in on them.
Okay, so I'm just going to read straight from the Senate bill, which was signed into law by Governor Abbott recently, and then it's going to be effective September 1st. So the verbiage states, the commission may not require license holders to include the term broker or agent or a reference to the commission or the person's license number in the person's advertisement. The change in emphasis regarding these advertising policies highlights the critical importance of proper and timely delivery of the information about brokerage services form and the consumer protection notice disclosures.
So
let's break that down.
Let me
break that down for the listeners.
If what I'm hearing is correct, and you can chime in if I'm wrong, Ashley. I've been wrong 3 times today. That's like a record for me.
That is a record. That is a record.
What I'm hearing is that if you are advertising real estate, you actually no longer have to put on there your license number. You don't have to include
that you're an agent,
that you're a real estate agent anymore. You can basically send out marketing that's completely unbranded, completely untouched, with no information about you being a realtor.
You still do have to include the broker, though.
You still have to include your brokerage.
Exactly.
Okay,
You cannot it cannot appear that you yourself are acting as a broker. So you couldn't send out advertisements with just like, David Bonilla Real Estate or Realtor or whatever, and not have.
Somewhere on there, even if it's in a tiny little thing on the corner, it needs to say White Picket Realty.
If you're sponsored by a broker, then your broker needs to be on there.
And the reason for this new law is basically it's impossible to find the information to report an agent who's advertising. It's harder to find an agent than it is the principal broker.
Yeah.
And so it's basically making it more known that the broker is liable for the operation of his agents.
Yeah.
Principal respondeat superior. So it's that's the goal of it. The goal is the agent becomes a little bit less immaterial to the broker.
Okay. Yeah. So there you go. If you're an agent, then you can basically start sending out. But it used to be you had to have your license number on there.
Right.
You had to include that, hey, I'm a licensed Texas realtor.
Yeah.
It was very almost invasive in the amount of stuff you had to include on your marketing. Now you just have to make sure somewhere on there your brokerage name is there. And by brokerage name, it literally means a brokerage name. You don't have to put the broker.
Right.
It's like White Picket Realty or Keller Williams, for example.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. That's great information.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a nice little change and not having to see all that information stacked up on the broker's business cards.
Now, one thing that I did notice is that it says on there, these advertising policies highlights the critical importance of proper and timely delivery of the information about brokerage services and the consumer protection notice disclosures. Now, that's one thing that I know I see a lot. Agents who don't have an IABS with their client. And I can tell you, when Trek comes out and audits your folders, if you do not have that, you are in some hot doo-doo there with Trek. Is that right, Ashley?
That's exactly right. I mean,
I have to check. I have to double check everything with Ashley.
I mean, it's just if you are failing to disclose the consumer protection notices, you are failing to disclose everything. And so it's just remember, it's just your client's interests are put above your own interest. And so if you charge your client more fees, you have to have that in writing. You have to have disclosure on that. You have to let them know what you're charging. So if you're going to charge 6% plus your cost of marketing, plus your cost of open houses, you can do that. As long as you have a signed written form disclosing to them that's what's done, and they agree to it. So getting back to kind of round out the whole show, I mean, don't discount your services, but if you charge them on a premium, that's fine. I mean, it's probably better. But make sure that's in signed writing, agreeing to those payments.
Yeah, that's excellent information. And then I'm throwing this out there for anyone who's listening. Make sure you jump on the show next week, because we're actually going to be bringing up a legal topic regarding leases. And it's one of the things that I've done probably 400 or 500 leases before, and I've always wondered exactly what that clause meant. And it's a clause that has to deal with subletting and subletting fees, and exactly how that works. And Ashley, he just dropped a golden nugget on me because I didn't know exactly what that was for. We need a sound effect for that. Yeah, anytime Ashley drops a new Ashleyism or a golden nugget, he just needs to have his own sound. So we're going to be talking about that next week in detail. We're going to break down the contract, explaining to you exactly what that means, and if you're a landlord, why you need to make sure that you're doing something very specific in that section of the contract.
And if you represent landlords, make sure you have this in there, because number one, it could save you from a lawsuit. Because personally speaking, I think it's malpractice for realtors not to include this thing in their lease.
Wow. So it's such a big deal that you would say it's going as far as malpractice to not do it.
Absolutely. Because every time I have a lease that I'm looking at this, the first thing I get back to the realtor, I call them up and says, hey, why didn't you have this in here? Because you cost your client about $1,500.
Yeah, wow. And you know what's funny is I want to say probably 95% of leases that I see don't have that.
Right.
Yeah, it's a very rampant thing out there not to have it, and I think it's misunderstood. I think people have been reading it the way that I was reading it.
Right.
So you have to come back. You got to watch the show next week if you want to know what that's about. Now, David, you want to go ahead and let us know what events we have coming up?
Yeah, we have quite a few events coming up. So one later this week on the 13th at 6:30 p.m. It's Scaling Your Real Estate Business and Creating a Culture. That's hosted by the Prosperity Group, and our very own host and broker, Alan Hernandez, will be speaking on that panel. So make sure to catch that one. Then the following week, on the 18th, Ted Jones Real Estate Forecast, hosted by NAREP Greater Houston. Make sure to follow our Houston Real Estate Events page to find a way to get tickets to that event. Ted Jones never fails to disappoint. That's going to be a great
Ted Jones,
event.
Ain't that the guy that sings that, it ain't unusual to be loved? Am I right? Am I right? No, the wrong guy?
No,
I had the wrong guy.
The wrong guy.
That's number 4 for the day for me.
Now Ashley,
that's Tom Jones.
Tom Jones. The wrong T. Jones. All right, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed Realty Ruckus today. Make sure you catch us back on Thursday. Alan Hernandez will be back in the house, more ready than ever, because he's been on hiatus now for 2 weeks.
He's gonna have the vacation slump.
Yeah, when he comes back, we will see how he is. But you know what? F it. He'll do it live, right?
Yeah, F it.
Next week.
I'm doing it live.
Thank you guys so much for watching. This is the Realty Ruckus. We'll catch you again on Thursday, same time, 3 to 4. Thanks for listening.
Keep up your ruckus.
This has been the Realty Ruckus. Make sure and join us every Tuesday and Friday for new episodes. Find us on YouTube and Facebook for replays of previous episodes. And as always, keep elevating yourself and keep up your ruckus. Thanks for listening. Realty Ruckus has been brought to you by Smart Pig Media Productions.